Don't trust a man that doesn't have a dark side. I've been in places that help me relate to most people.
Jabe Tyler.
I come from a place where nothing should have been possible. Brought up around crime was normal, drugs very normal, survival from a young age. I was forced to grow up fast.
Luke, who sadly passed away. Talk to me about what he meant to you, bro.
He was their first older bro. We're on the bones of our ass, nothing to lose. So we ended up getting arrested and we got done for aggravated robbery and kidnapping. I got sentenced to 5 years, 9 months prison. We spent probably in total maybe 2 years of that cell up. We grew super tight. It almost feels like it's a once in a lifetime thing where you meet someone and your humor is just the same.
If he didn't pass away, do you think you'd still be in their gang lifestyle?
Yeah, highly likely. I don't think I would have had it in me to leave if he didn't.
You've been on this journey of what you call self-mastery. To you, like what that actually means.
I've been made aware of different modalities of what they call healing, from past traumas and things. I look up to who I am. All my messages, it's actually me talking to myself. If I put up a video, know that whatever I talked about, I just felt. People resonate with it, and that's awesome.
If tomorrow was your last day, what is the one final message you'd want to leave with the world?
Deep.
If I could have one moment of your time. Most of you guys listening or watching do not subscribe to the channel. The simple and easiest way to help and support us is to subscribe. It helps us get the guests that you guys want, and it gives us a more opportunity to grow this thing to where we want to take it. Thank you so much. Enjoy the episode. Kia ora.
Jabe Tyler, welcome to the Martin Show, brother.
Good to be here, brother.
Manifested. Hey,
manifested, brother. Yeah, it's funny. I remember seeing your show pop up. Must have been, when did you first start?
A year and a half.
Yeah, so it was around that time, and I thought, fuck, that'd be a cool show to be on. I had done a podcast prior, but it's different. You got to connect with the person you're having a conversation with, where it just feels like we're just talking shit, So it makes it easy, and you can represent yourself and your message in a much more authentic and better way, So when I seen your podcast, I thought, yeah, one day I'll be on there. Nick, brother, we're here, brother.
In Bali as well,
way.
So cool. Bro, people will see you now, the life you live now, the path that you're on now, right? But most of those people wouldn't guess your story.
Yes.
What is the first thing or the one thing about your past you think people should know first?
Maybe the image I have now, the perspective people have on me now, it could be easy to blur the line that I come from a background of major limiting beliefs that you're probably going to do fuck all with your life, Yeah. But now I'm like, I feel like I can achieve anything. I feel like I can do anything in my... Yeah, so to answer your question, it would be that I come from a place where nothing should have been possible,
Let's talk about that place. How would you describe that place, I guess your upbringing?
I would describe it as survival from a young age. I was forced to grow up fast. I was around, loved my parents, they 20 and 21, they had me. I think like, fuck it. When I was younger, I was filled with a lot of resentment towards my upbringing. But as I get older and understand, like, if you gave me a baby at 20, fuck, I would have repeated the cycle 100%, So it's anything I say, it's no ill will towards them. They were just humans trying to navigate this journey, but they were not prepared to have a child, They were both battling their own addictions and like just instability. They didn't know who they were and what they were up to either. So I guess they just did their best with what they knew at the time, and I could imagine they both are filled with regret on the way they parented and how they could have done better, We're all only human at the end of the day, brother, But yeah, brought up around crime was normal, drugs very normal, just didn't have the tools to to prepare me for the world, you know? So I had to figure that out myself as I got older, which I'm super thankful for. Because I heard this quote many moons ago, but it was, don't trust a man that doesn't have a dark side. And I thought, I love that, you know, like I've been in places that help me relate to most people.
I love that quote, actually. I've never heard that one. But I'm really intrigued in that idea of a dark side.
Yes.
And so you feel like for yourself now,
yes.
looking at your life in retrospect, you're very, I guess, familiar and conscious of that dark side?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, definitely. I think most of us have a bit of it. Even if you come from, say, a sheltered life, there's something going on in there, you know. I think physical experiences of darkness is probably better when you, especially being in a position like myself, being a leader. I need to be able to relate to people on all levels. You know, like I don't want to be, I shouldn't even say I don't want to be. It would never, my message that I try to get across would have no meaning if it wasn't authentic and from experience, you know?
Yeah, bro. I love that. And then what sort of, or when did you feel pulled towards to go down the gang lifestyle or the gang culture?
It would be, it'd take full ownership, but 100% it was just my bro Luke who passed away. That's where he was going, so that's where I was going. We were like he was my, you know, we were like this, you know, couldn't separate us sort of thing. And I remember at the start, I was like, fuck, I was going through a period of my life where I was getting wasted a lot, you know, on the piss, on the MD, blah, blah, blah. And I remember he brought it up, oh, bro, you know, I might be doing this. And I remember, I'm pretty sure we were high and I was like, oh, just about to be. And I remember saying like, bro, what are you up to? You know, that's not us. Fuck, we just not long out of prison, you know, done over about 3.5 years, never considered joining a gang the whole time. And then to get out and for him to be like that, I remember being like, bro, what are we up to? Let's not do that. But he was a strong-minded individual, so that's what he was doing. So I was like, well, if you are, then I guess I have to.
Wow. So it was all like, I guess, influence from the bro, and you were just following essentially.
Yeah, 100%, yeah.
Did the gang give you, I guess, something that you felt that you were looking for, that you maybe have lacked in the childhood sense?
Definitely.
Yeah.
That sense of brotherhood that, like at the time and throughout my whole journey being a gang member, it's just a group of bros hanging out. It really is, you know, like any fucking organization, you're going to have the bad apples and there's going to be people that are fucking up to shit you may not agree with or whatever. But ultimately, we were just a bunch of boys that we trained together, we ate together, we laughed, we talked shit. A lot of us had the same humor. It was like off the bat, it's like, you know, you're a teenager hanging out with your boys. Same thing, but we're adults now, you know, literally. It didn't feel any different to that. So, yeah, definitely a real sense of belonging. And I was around people at the time, which I'm so thankful for, and I feel it was all meant to be in that crew that I was with that were very intelligent and they had really good morals and their perspective on life was just beautiful. So I learned a lot. There was a lot, especially, you know, a couple of individuals in particular. I learned so much from them. And even now, so much of my character, I think, to the influence I had from them. Wow. You know, it was real positive. Of course, there's negatives, no doubt about it, but there's a lot of positive I take away from that chapter of my life.
Oh, bro. Belonging, brotherhood. It's a lot of what us men crave, right? 100%. And do you think that's why most men, if they can't find it at home with their friends at school, they revert to a gang culture?
Yes, definitely. That would be the majority. You have anyone who is morally strong, who has joined a gang, or unless they're born in, that has to be the reason. It's the brotherhood. It's the sense of belonging. You know, it really is. You have the real minority that go in with ulterior motives, whether that be money or they want to use power or whatever. But that's the minority. Like, you don't come across many, but they'll be in there. But for myself, all the other lads that were close to me and still are close to me, a lot of them who weren't born in, it's just the brotherhood. It really is. It's just like I said, it's a group of boys just kicking up. It's what it is,
Yeah.
With a bit of an attitude, the fuck the system, blah, blah, blah. Most of the boys, if not all, come from that broken background of you didn't see the system as a good thing. Probably the place you probably grew up in, your parents are teaching you about, knock from a young age and fucking XYZ, so it's that, it's that joined sort of view on the world mixed with the brotherhood.
Yeah.
So you come together and you can just relate.
Feel less alone, right?
Feel less alone. That's it. Especially to that view, depending on where you're from, obviously, that's the minority. So growing up, say through your teenage years, you could feel a little bit of an outsider maybe, because your view on the world is a little bit different. That sort of chip on the shoulder that you have, maybe a lot of your peers didn't have, so then when you meet a bunch of people that view it the same, you're like, this is my people. Wow. And we're drawn to them,
Yeah. Environment, right? Being around there.
Welcome to the Martin Show First Ad Break. For anyone who is wanting to go on a new journey, learn a new skill, we have started our basic beginners boxing fundamentals course. For anyone, if it's your first time, if you're a seasoned member, this is the course for you in the boxing space or fitness space. Click the link below or go to onlineboxingtraining.com and I'll see you guys there. Let's get to mahi, eh?
You mentioned your bro, Luke.
Yes.
Who sadly passed away in October 2018.
Yes.
May you rest in peace, brother. I'm sorry to hear that, cuz.
Thank you, brother.
Talk to me about what he meant to you, bro. He was obviously, we just talked about his influence, but talk to me about, I guess, your guys' relationship.
So we met as he was older than me. I would have been maybe 14, and he was actually the partner of one of my bro's older sisters. So we were 14, 15, just started smoking weed and getting on the beers, blah, blah, blah. We looked up to him. So he would have been 4 or 5 years older. He was that first older bro giving us weed, getting us stoned, always had our back. It's like, as teenagers at parties, you think you're the man, and we had this older bro that had our back, and so throughout the years, throughout my teenage years, we didn't really know each other too well, very surface level, but like Joe the bro, Yeah. And then he was on the run essentially for, I think it was like a burglary or something minor. And I had just been done for stealing a car. So I was on bail too. And I don't even know how we schemed this. We thought, we'll go up north, eh? So we went on this fucking tiki tour up north. We were stealing cars and doing petrol drive-offs. So just like fucking being Bundys, like hard out. And anyway, we ended up, so we made it up north, and we were hitchhiking, and we got picked up by this guy who took us back to his, it was just about nighttime. He took us back to his house, and it's this farmhouse, and big like open kitchen lounge area, and there was a big tarpaulin in the middle, and the house reeked of weed. And I was looking at Luke like, what the fuck's in that tarpaulin? Sure enough, he opens it, and it's just a big pile of weed. So me and Luke, we're on the bones of our ass, nothing to lose. So I pull out my phone, start texting him, and he's texting me back. We're scheming how we can get all this weed. And so we ended up tying this dude up, taking all his weed. And at the time, we were just naive, like, we're stealing weed from some cunt growing weed. Like, you don't get in trouble. Like, the police, it didn't even cross my mind, So we pack all this weed and we take his car. And maybe 2 hours later, we pass a detective, and it pulls out behind us. And within 5 minutes, we got about 20 cop cars behind us. And so we ended up getting arrested, and we got done for aggravated robbery and kidnapping on this dope grower. So I got sentenced to 5 years, 9 months prison. Luke got 5 years, 4 months. And so throughout that time, we were celled up a lot. We spent probably in total maybe 2 years of that celled up. So we grew super tight, and we knew, like, You meet a lot of good people in prison, but there's still that fine line on who you can trust at what level. But we knew we had each other's back no matter what, you know. So we built a really strong bond. The thing I remember the most, and the thing I hold closest to my heart with Luke was our humor, our connection of humor. Like it almost feels like it's a once in a lifetime thing where you meet someone and your humor is just the same. Like we could sit in a room and be laughing at something without a word getting said, and we both knew what we were laughing at, you know? And it was, and we just inseparable, you know, and he had a heart of gold. Obviously had his demons too, you know, he was only human, but he was the man, had my back hard, and I treasure the relationship that we have and had, you know, really do.
Do you still think about him now?
All the time, brother. Yeah, all the time. I guess initially when he passed, his memory for me was almost salvation. Like I would think of him a lot, like, please, brother, like almost like pray to him in a sense, you know? Whereas now it's like, we're doing this, brother. I'm making you proud. Like, let's fucking go. It's more of a, it's just, I get so much strength from him, you know, which I always got, but it feels different now. And I have a theory behind that too, which I'll share with you. So about a year before he passed, he gave me a greenstone. And so I wore it every day without fail. And then when he passed, it was like enhanced. Like there's no way I was taking that thing off. Like everywhere I went, I had it close to me. And so 7 years later, a day did not go by that I didn't wear it, you know. And then it was 7 years later, almost to the fucking day. And I felt something on my chest. What the hell? Had a look, and it had snapped in half. And I was like, I remember thinking, what the fuck? So I was messaging people, got on social media, and I needed to know the meaning of it. And I ended up talking to a guy who at the time didn't really know, but in hindsight, a lot of respect for that man. And he told me it was like the weight of Luke's death being lifted from me. And it was Luke telling me that now it's my time to like lead and let go and thrive, you know? And it just resonated so heavy, you know? And then so from that moment, it's like when I think of Luke, it's like I feel him with me all the time. It's like we're doing it together now, as opposed to like, fuck, why'd you leave me, bro? Fucking hell, can you help, you know?
Wow.
Yeah.
Like a different responsibility almost now, but in a beautiful way.
100%,
like,
bro.
This is bigger than me.
Yes, 100%, yeah.
Fuck, Jabe, this is crazy, bro. I was going to tell you this off camera, but bro, my pop, who is the King Martin, probably only has a few hours to live.
Wow.
Yeah, because I was going to tell you after, but since you just shared that, I felt I needed to share that with you. And so there was a little inclination for me to message you and be like, bro, maybe we postpone or do this back home, but I just felt like I needed to as well, you know? I felt like my pop would be like, nah. Again, it's like a different duty, a different responsibility. So I'm actually heading home straight after this, cuz.
Wow, sorry to hear, brother.
Nah, thank you, bro. Thank you. It's been a crazy morning. But bro, back to your bro, my last question around him is, if he didn't pass away, do you think you'd still be in their gang lifestyle?
Yeah, highly likely. I think Luke's path, there was only a few ways it was going. He was either going to die on his motorbike, madman, well known as like on a bike, in a vehicle, you weren't beating him in a race. It's almost, Luke, honestly, like in hindsight, looking back, it's almost like he had part of the brain that he couldn't process consequences.
Wow.
Loose, just a loose unit. Yeah. So he was either going to die on his bike, get killed the way he got killed, or he was off to jail. Like he was just living in fifth gear. Wow. There was no turning it off, you know, and my loyalty to him was extreme, you know. It was whatever he was doing, I was doing. And I don't think I would have had it in me to leave if he didn't, if he was still here, you know. But then at the same time, I also think that potentially as the years went on, he might have sat there and advised me to leave, like knowing it wasn't my path, you know. Yeah, it's something I think about a lot, you know, the what ifs around if he was still here.
You, bro.
Because you just don't know.
Oh my God. Well, in 2020, you do leave. And I guess the question is why? Did you come to sort of the senses of like, this isn't my path, therefore I just need to go? Was that sort of how it played out for you?
Definitely. I think the only thing that was keeping me there ultimately was the brotherhood. Because that's like through and through, that's what it is. That's what it's about. And it was my loyalty to those boys that's why I didn't want to leave. But I always knew, like, I'm not a gangster. I've always had a soft heart. I've always been kind. And I'm not saying there's G's that aren't like that, but it felt too conflicted within myself. Like, I knew I've always been a natural leader. I wanted to help people. I wanted to pursue certain things in my life. And having a patch, regardless of what people want to say or believe, it takes away from the integrity. Because people, no matter what, they're going to stereotype gangsters. They're going to say, you can't be a good person because you're wearing that patch. Not true, but I just knew to fulfill my destiny, it didn't align. You know, it really didn't. And Luke not being there too was a big one. You know, it was lots of compounding things, I think. But yeah, just knowing that it didn't feel right anymore. And I don't know if I could put that down to one thing, but it just didn't feel right. And it would have been wrong of me to continue that path, you know? It was difficult. It was a difficult decision because, like I said, ultimately the root of it, it's the brotherhood. And you feel like you're turning your back on your bros, you know, by saying, hey, I don't want to live this life anymore, but I still want to be your bro. There was a lot of weight on my shoulders, you know. It took years to like release myself from that guilt, you know. It really did. Through lots of conversations, through boys from the crew, you know, that they helped a lot. You always said, no matter what, we got your back, bro, you know. But it comes from within, right? And it's still like, fuck, let my bro down, turn my back on my bro. It's a hard one. It's a real hard one, you know, but I'm super thankful for how everything's gone. I'm super thankful that all the ones who know me on a personal level from that life have continued to have my back.
Did you cop a lot of hate or, you know what I mean? Questioning?
Not directly. I know if I look back, okay, to that time, if one of the boys that was in our close crew had left the way I did, I would have felt a certain type of way towards them too at the time. So I know there would have been that. But as time's gone on, I feel like whatever that initial feeling was from them, I feel like it's been fixed or healed, you know, like it was only 2 hours ago, one of the boys rang me and he needed someone to talk to, you know, and that's 5 years after the fact. And I love that the boys can still trust me. They can still talk to me and they know that I just want the best for them. And ultimately I feel that's what they want for me too, you know. Of course being it's a nationwide gang, of course there's going to be certain people that are like, you know, runaway ex-member, going to have whatever opinion. That's okay. You know, no matter what, I know if anyone from their crew rang me up and needed me on a legal level, I'd have their back. If they were like, bro, fucking mumsy's left me, can I come talk some shit? Hard. Yeah, if they said, hey bro, can I pick you up? I'm gonna go do this and that. Nah, brother. Yeah. Sorry, bro. Call someone else.
Well, how was it transitioning, I guess, into maybe the real world, you know, or becoming a civilian?
Yes, becoming a civilian. It was difficult, bro. looking back, I don't think I knew it at the time. I reckon I was depressed. Whatever, I don't know. I can't define depression, but I definitely struggled. Didn't have motivation, felt very alone, had a lot of it was the guilt, I think. Carrying a lot of guilt, feeling like I turned my back on my bros. It was heavy and it lasted a long time. And I was in a place of trying to see my own situation from so many different views, the brothers, my own life, my partner, my family, and our mind is our biggest enemy. I'm thinking about situations that is it real? Fuck if I know. But I got into that buzz, and then knowing like, okay, I need some stability with finances. Who am I going to hang out with? Who am I now? What is my identity? Like, what am I up to? For the last X amount of years, I'd been Jabe the gangster doing XYZ, kickboxing, and that was my routine in my life. It's all I knew. So it had been full 180. It had been a complete 180. So it was very difficult.
Yeah.
It was really difficult.
Bro, I want to talk about that shift. What helped? You mentioned the word identity, routine. What helped form a new identity, form new routines, new behaviors, new habits? And I guess furthermore, what helped you stay away from relapsing or coming back to that old life?
I think relapsing or going back to the old life, I knew it wasn't an option. I just knew that is not an option. So I didn't even consider it. And then through time, I've always been ambitious. I've always wanted more for myself. I've always been someone who naturally will feel like frustration and guilt within myself if I'm not reaching my potential from a young age. So I think that sort of character trait I have. So I slowly went on this path of like, okay, what am I up to? What do I love? Started to just look at myself from the outside again and deep reflection and figure out who I am and what I truly want, Knew I love fighting. Knew I love giving advice, even if it's fucking not asked for, I'm always like, it's something you almost have to learn to tone down when you're a natural advice giver, Not everyone wants your fucking advice. So yeah, I knew I had those two things. I knew people, I was always a natural leader. I knew people got a loud voice. I've got a way that people listen. So I knew I had all these traits and I was trying to just identify everything from the view of what was authentic and real, not allowing my imposter syndrome to set in. Like, how do I view, if I wasn't me, how would I see me? And so I went on that path, and then I always knew that I was staying in martial arts. It was kickboxing, boxing, whatever it may be, So that would always be my salvation. Back to training. Built this relationship with a boxing coach, Shannon, and through, to be honest, and I've said this to him, I don't know what the fuck he was thinking partnering up with me at the time, but he obviously seen something in me that I didn't see in myself at the time, and he was like, I had said to him, hey, because so after the lockdown, he separated from his gym and he was working out of another gym. And so I started training with him, and I got a fight booked in with him again, hadn't fought in a while. And so he was looking for a space for a gym. And I said, hey, when you get that gym, if you need a PT or a coach or whatever, let me know. And then the very next day I went back and he was basically like, well, if you're willing, I'd go 50-50 in this business, Sledgehammer Boxing, with you. Straight away, I was like, fucking oath, At the time I was like, this is it, cool. And then sure enough, we get a space. I had been training people out of my garage at the time. He had been doing the same, met in the middle, and then straight off the bat, we built this fucking beautiful gym. It was awesome. It was like, honestly, I don't want to call it luck because I don't like that, but I was on the cusp of luck, It was like, Without that, I don't know where I'd be right now. I really don't. You know, I feel like it was meant to be. So I'm not going to call it luck, but it was just perfect. It really was.
Yeah, bro. And that shift was more so in 2022.
Yes.
And since then, you've been on this journey of what you call self-mastery.
Yes.
And I love that, bro. But I want to know, like, to you, like what that actually means and what that, I guess, fundamentally looks like.
For me, it is just conquering those things that we know aren't like righteous, or we all have this. Say we form an action, we commit an action, and we have regret from that. Then we know that that's not for us, but yet human. I don't know if it's human. I don't know what it is. We're suckers for it. Whether it's having that fucking piece of muffin and then fuck, I told myself I wouldn't have any muffins today. Or if you like spend an extra half an hour at night in bed, doom scrolling, wake up tired the next day. I'm not going to do that again. And then you're doing it again that night. Shit like that. To me, it makes no sense. Why would I do something that I know is bad for me? But yet somehow it pops up again. You know, it really does. And it can be anything. For me, a big one right now that, and it's quite a deep one that a lot of people may not be able to identify yet. I think it takes time on this journey of self-mastery and self-actualization where I'm still a bit of a people pleaser. I'll find like I'll be, say I'm with a group of boys and they're joking about something and I'll laugh and I'm thinking, but I don't even find that funny. I don't want to joke about that shit. You know, it's like it could almost come back to maybe that sense of belonging where you sort of just want to fit in maybe. I don't know, but I still have those traits. So it's the one thing that I'm very conscious at the moment where I'm not going to agree to shit until I fucking think, is that for me? And then agree. Or I'm not going to laugh at that joke unless I genuinely find it funny, you know? And it can seem minor, but it's not. People pleasing isn't a minor thing, especially if I'm in a position that I'm in where people look up to me and I consider myself a leader. I'll be a people pleaser, you know?
God. Yeah, brother. I'm reading a book at the moment called No More Mr. Nice Guy.
Cool.
And it's because I struggle with this, exactly what you're talking about a lot. What's helping you in that way? Just being, I guess, first step is awareness, you're aware of it. What's like the next step for you? This is probably more of a selfish question for me. But bro, people pleasing so common.
It is.
So much more common than probably most people know or, you know, realize. So
how I first was made aware, I was actually taught about, so you know our stress responses. Everyone thinks fight, flight. It's your stress response. We actually have 4. There's freeze and fawning. Fawning is people pleasing. So to me, I'm like, so I've done some inner work with breath work and meditation and things like that. And so I've been made aware of different modalities of what they call healing, you know, from past traumas and things. And when I heard fawning, I was more aware. I thought, I do that a lot. And so if that's a trauma response, that's something I probably need to fix, you know? So being very conscious of it has been a big one. Reminding myself why. Also being more aware of how I want to be seen. Like if I'm in a position of being a leader, I think of people I look up to or someone I might come across on Instagram and I think, fuck yeah, I like the look of this guy. He's someone I'd listen to. How does that look? For me, it doesn't look like sitting in the corner joking with 4 people about this woman doing that or real surface level bullshit. To me, that's like a strong individual who your laughter comes from a place of shit that is actually funny, not like schoolyard jokes, you know? That's just one example I give, but the people pleasing, for myself, it can be, it will arise. And sometimes I don't catch myself till it's too late. And I'm like, fucking hell. Do I backtrack on this conversation with this guy? Or I guess maybe that's the next level. I think too, meditation has been very helpful for me on like separating myself from my thoughts, which has made me way more aware when I do something. When I do something that is people pleasing, I'm getting much faster at being aware of it. So I guess that's the right step to conquering it.
Yeah.
But it's still in progress, brother.
Yeah,
Still in
brother.
progress.
Yeah, man. Far mutual.
Yes.
Who do you look up to now?
I think I take parts of a lot of people. There's lots of people online who I like, and I look up to a lot of things they say, but they also say a lot of shit I don't like. So it's tricky to really look up to them. But I like a lot of what they say. So I guess there's a lot of people I take some good from and then just get rid of the other shit. And I'm trying to figure that out for myself and then just be that person. Like I would love to be at a point where, and I feel like I'm getting there. I look up to who I am, you know? Like, because I think if you can get there, you're probably in a good place in life, you know? But there's people, Shannon, the other half of Sledgehammer Boxing, he's a big one. You know, men like yourself, you're having a crack. You're having a go. You're out there, you're in Bali having a go. You know, you're just having conversations, you're being yourself, and you're just seeing what you can do with life. I love that. You know, like, because you're putting yourself out there on the line to be embarrassed. You could sit down and this could all turn to shit, and then there'll be, obviously it comes from haters, so who gives a fuck about that anyway, but you're still putting yourself on the line, you know. So the man in the arena, as they say, I look up to people like that, you know, boxers, like, as you know, coming from a boxing background, anyone who gets in that ring and continues to pursue that, I look up to them. Anyone who's just on that path of trying to be better, but also being a good person. You know, anyone like that, you got my respect, and I'll look up to you in some way, shape, or form.
Oh, I love that, because a lot of what you teach, a lot of what you do now is around helping people, helping men, especially helping young men. What do you think men need most today? What do you think men are missing?
I feel like it's their intention on being better. I feel like there's a lot of men that see the prize or the end goal or the what they can get out of certain things without taking it back to, it's actually just about who you are. You know, like, I'm a firm believer we will attract who we are. Start with yourself. Start with that personal development. You know, create good habits, create a good routine. Minimizing the distractions is a big one. The phone use, that's the huge one. Like, how many people would open their phone right now, check their screen time, and it's like 5 hours plus for the day. 4 hours of that is nothingness. You know, like, if you think of yesterday, say you scrolled Instagram, Facebook, whatever, for 3 hours yesterday, have a think of like 2 things you took away from there. I bet you can't. You know, like, we think, oh, I'm learning something. Oh, I'm this. You fucking ain't.
Yeah, bro.
You're just not, you know. So it's that, what are men missing? Probably the strength to eliminate instant gratification. You know, can we say no to that muffin? Can we say no to picking up our phone 50 times a day? Can we say no to the woman down the street? Can we, you know, all these temptations that we have to live a comfortable life, it's all right there. It's super easy, you know, but how many people or how many of us would finish a day of that and feel good about ourselves? You got a long road ahead of you if you do.
Do you think men today are getting softer?
Definitely. It's the environment. It's easy to, you know, like, I could sit here and say, oh, studies show testosterone this and studies show that. I don't know any of that. It's all hearsay. But what I do know is comfort is right here. You know, I'm just sipping on water from a cup. Good conversation. Got a scooter here in Bali, eating what I want, like staying at a mean spot. Like, it'd be so easy to be comfortable. I could easily make, you know, go to work, make $1,000 a week, finish work, watch Netflix, scroll my phone, fucking talk to some chick down the road, do X, Y, Z. Life's comfortable. It's all right there. It's so easy, you know, but we have to almost go to war with comfort because it'll just destroy us. And not even in the sense of what we achieve, just how we feel. You know, how do you feel after a weekend of comfort? Probably like I can't wait for Monday. I'm going to do this and that to feel better, you know? Just do that every day. Problem solved.
Bro, you mentioned so many things that are top of the mind for me at the moment and recent learnings for myself, because coming to Bali and being in Bali, it's very, you can go two ways. You know, it's easy to lock in. The environment's around, you know, there's many gyms, many healthy food's pretty cheap, living, you know, you can live that way. Far out, you can also go down the other way real easy. Yes. You know what I mean? There's beautiful women, there's, again, cheap kai if you want a pizza, $2 or what, you know what I mean, bro? Yeah. And so the distractions, you mentioned the word distractions, they're friggin' everywhere here, bro. So it has been a good challenge to be aware of that as well, to be like, holy heck, why are you here? Yes. You know why you're here? Yes. Stop swiping on Tinder, Kaz. You know what I mean? You know exactly what I mean, bro. But a key thing of what you said here, which I'm trying to become better at, is around that idea of just being bored. You know? Like, bro, when I first come here, when I was training at the gym, I'd be listening to a podcast. When I was running, I'd be listening to music. Nah. I'm like now, this is only in the last 2 weeks, just getting rid of it completely. Yes. No stimulus, even when I'm working out. Even, you know those moments, bro, where you feel that urge to grab the phone? Like, nah, like it's a battle now, bro. Yeah. And it's just things that I'm seeing online is just be bored and allow yourself to be bored.
Crucial.
So hard, easier said than done.
Definitely, yeah.
For you now, bro, when you look at, I guess, men, masculinity, how do you define modern masculinity now?
I think having a lot of empathy for others, like don't judge other people. You know, you got no idea about them at all. You really don't. Compassion, you know, goes in line with empathy. Having courage, you know, like the perfect example I can use is I would imagine, and the likes of yourself too, people probably see us, you know, your box, they probably think, oh, it's cool, that's fun. It's scary as fuck. The roller coaster that comes with fighting, like I got Dan Hooker's thing next weekend. I'm like, I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. I'm also shit scared. You know, there's the man in the arena. Once again, you're putting it all on the line, you know? So, but just knowing like everything's going to be okay. Face your fears, you know, and have a crack. And you're always a stronger person on the other side, you know? So courage is a huge one. And it doesn't have to be fighting. That's just something specific to us. But it could be, you might be scared to bring up that conversation to your boss about the $2 pay rise that you deserve. Just do it. Yeah. You know, what have you got to lose? You might be scared of a conversation with mumsy about something that happened or whatever it may be. You gotta face your fears and be courageous. I think that's a huge one. I think having leadership qualities, you know, you don't have to be a leader, but you at least need to be assertive enough within yourself to know, let's go this way, you know, especially for your family. Like if you have a partner and kids, like make sure they can depend on you, make sure they can trust you with their emotions, their, you know, financial, it's a big one too, I think, you know, be a provider. What else? Looking after your health too. Stay in shape, you know, don't be a glutton. Make sure you're exercising. You don't need to be a bodybuilder. You don't need to be a professional athlete, but get down to the gym or go for runs, pick up some dumbbells at home, whatever it may be. I think that's crucial as well. And just being in control of your emotions, you know, we all feel negative emotion, but don't take it out on people around you. If you can, don't show it too often either. Good to be vulnerable as well. Like if you're say you're a family man and you have a partner, 2 kids, you're feeling a bit of weight on your shoulders, make sure you still talk to your partner about that, you know? Don't make it a routine where it's, oh, babe, feel sorry for me, but let them know, hey, babe, I do have these moments of struggle, but I want you to know that I'm, you know, putting one foot in front of the other for us. And if you've got a good woman beside you, she's gonna give you a hug and a kiss and be like, fuck, you got this, babe. You know I'm here if you need me, you know? So just having a real good mix of strength and vulnerability, I think, is the big one.
What you're talking about there is essentially expression, right? Expressing self.
Yes.
How do you think you express yourself now or suppress yourself now?
I think in the past it was the alter ego was up 24/7. I'm all good. Don't worry about me, bro. You know. But now I'm like, I'll talk about anything with basically anyone. I don't really care. Yeah, I'm very open about whatever's going on in my life, anything I've been through. If I have life struggles at the time, I'll talk about it freely. Yeah, I think it's cool. There's a bit of a movement around, men and speaking up right now. I think just be vulnerable. Like I said, I don't make that your identity. Don't be Mr. Me. Life is hard, life is hard, life is hard. But express yourself and then fucking get back up and let's go. You still got to remain strong. But yeah, to answer your question, bro, like I feel no shame, no guilt, nothing about anything in my life. Have I done things that, in hindsight, could I have done them differently? Of course, Am I going to let them eat me up? No way. Will I make that mistake again? I'll do my absolute best not to, But yeah, if anyone could ask me anything, I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm never going to have a mask up. And if I'm having a day, the only time I would say I'm all good if I wasn't, to a certain degree, not if it was super heavy, is if I knew the person beside me needed me to be strong.
Wow.
Then I would be like, no, I'm good, let's go. But if I was ever in a dark place, which touch wood, I'm not gonna say that I'm above that, but I feel like I never would be again. But if I ever was, I would definitely talk to people. It's the best way out.
Do you think you're struggling with anything specifically now?
I think like I said, the people pleasing, it's minor, but it's a part of my character I don't like. So it's something. Like I said, when I think of myself, I want to be that guy that if there's five men in a corner laughing at a stupid joke, I'm the one who doesn't laugh. That's what I want, And then another thing, I guess, I'm a little bit of a glutton. And I know that's surface level bullshit, but I want to get better control of my food habits. To a lot of people, my food habits would be like, nah, you're fucking dialed in. There's still a part of me that I could wake up in the morning and say, I'm not going to have that waffle with the buffet in Bali. And then I get up and fucking do it anyway. And I'm like, whoa, you're better than that, So just surface level shit. But I want to improve and continue to improve on everything. But I wouldn't word them as struggles. They're just like, I'm on this journey and it's going to be forever of just trying to be better. I'm not trying, I am. I'm being better at everything I do continually, and learning from mistakes. I'm going to learn from others. I'm going to learn from myself. Like, it doesn't stop every day, like a perfect example, reading a book. I could read, I've got a good handful of books that I love. I could read them every day forever and still be learning. It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop.
Self-mastery.
Self-mastery, brother.
What role do you think resentment or hate play in a man's life today?
I think we are all motivated differently. I think for some people, they are actually really motivated by that. Like, I'm going to show the haters. We see it in professional athletes, businessmen, like, I'm going to show that school teacher who told me X, Y, Z. And that's fine. They're motivated by that. Fucking use that as fuel. For me personally, resentment and proving to others is more of a negative than a positive, I have the moments where ego will take over and I'll fucking show this mother, mainly in the sport regard and what we do with martial art. But I would never sit here and feel motivated if I thought like, I'm going to show that person who doesn't believe in me how great I can be. For me, that doesn't motivate me, but I do understand that there's a lot of individuals motivated by that. If you are, use it and go hard, Use it and go hard. But I think for a lot of us, resentment isn't a good thing. So I guess to answer your question, we are all very different. Identify what actually works in a healthy way. I can't use resentment in a healthy way, personally. I feel too much connection with the world and the people, but not saying that these people that are motivated by that, but you're just different. I couldn't be motivated by that. But if you are motivated by that and you feel it's healthy, use it and go hard.
You don't feel like you carry any resentment now?
No. It's a good question. If it ever comes up, I feel like it's almost an intrusive thought, and it's something that I can very quickly unidentify myself with, As anyone who dives deep into themselves, our brain we're flooded. I don't know what the statistics are, hundreds of thousands of thoughts a day or whatever it may be. A lot of them are negative, and of course I have moments of hateful thoughts coming in my head, or resentful thoughts coming in my head. But I quickly know that's not me. It's just a thought that I had,
It reminds me of you are not your mind.
We're really not. Meditation teaches you that. That's another thing. Meditation, super powerful. I just don't think enough people understand what it is, or I think it's thrown around so much that there's a lot of people from our generation, or maybe younger or even older, just don't quite understand what it is, of like, you're just sitting in nothingness. For me, it's you are not your mind. You'll sit there, focus. I like to shut my eyes, focus on one thing for an hour. It could be the ringing of a noise in the distance, whatever it may be. You just constantly bring yourself back to that. And eventually, the better you get at meditation, you can actually physically see thoughts going past, and you realize they are not you. And we have, like I said, so many thoughts a day. Of course, they're not all positive. Like, oh, you are the greatest. Oh, she is so awesome. He is cool. That's just not reality. It's like, you could sit here, shut your eyes, start a meditation, and think of a thought you had at 14 of a kid who did something you didn't like. It could be fucking anything, but learning really quickly, we are not our thoughts. We are not. And we have a choice 24 hours a day on how we want to feel, I believe. Yeah.
Do you pray at all?
I do, but it's tricky. I'm definitely spiritual. I believe, I don't know, like, what do you mean? We're just here. That means nothing to me. We have to start from somewhere. There has to be, I've had far too many moments in my life that I'm like, that is not a coincidence. Like the synchronicities in my life. I'm very spiritual. I pray a lot. I just don't know. I'm not saying I don't believe in religion. I don't understand religion to have a say on it. But I know and I believe with my whole heart, there's a lot we can't see that goes on. There has to be, what's an example? You could sit there and you could be with your bro and be like, oh, have you heard from James? No, I haven't heard from him in 8 years. Neither's the bro. You get a phone call from him the next day. You cannot tell me it's a coincidence. Yeah. I'll never believe that. I like to, like synchronicities, I like to think of as like signs from the universe that you're powerful and you're capable, just reminders of you can achieve anything you want. That's the sort of belief system I have behind it all. Whether that's another sense of salvation, maybe, I don't know, but it makes me feel good. Like what's an example? Thinking of getting on the show and now I'm here. I'm like, wait a minute, what else can I fucking do, And I feel we're all capable of it,
Wow. Yeah, that's another thing I'm very grateful and appreciative of Bali. Bro, since being here, the only prayer I do is karakia before food, right?
Yes.
But since being here, bro, I've been praying, not every day, but every day, like, even if it's like a 5-10 minute meditation, just diving into that waka.
Yeah, cool.
And man, it has been beautiful. You just start thinking differently.
Yes.
And again, I guess it helps with the gratitude thing. When you look outside, you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Nah, I don't care how bad my day is going to be. Look at these fellas.
And it's funny in Bali, like you said, you look around you and they look like they're living really hard. If you get eye contact with any local and you smile at them, they smile straight back, straight away. It's something I'm like, why can't we do that in New Zealand?
Oh, bro.
Half the time we look at each other and it's, what the fuck's this motherfucker looking at,
Oh
What's that about, eh?
It does something to hear, eh? When you see them smile at you, you're like, oof.
And in that moment, if you think about it, there's two people completely strange, you know, we don't know each other from a bar, so we're smiling at each other. Doesn't get much better than that. I don't know. It's like a pretty powerful thing.
Brother, when I think of the opposite of resentment, correct me if you think I'm wrong, I think of like resenting, we're usually resenting a person, right? Or an event or a situation or something that's happened in our lives. The opposite of that, which comes to my mind, is forgiveness. Do you feel like you've forgiven all those individuals who you feel like have done you wrong?
100%. I've always naturally been very forgiving. Like I've had, what's an example I can think of? Even a person that I grew up with, considered a best friend, who had slept with someone I was seeing at the time, initially felt very betrayed and was full of those emotions, you know, those negative emotions, but really quickly just wanted to be his friend again. You know, I'm not, because I know there's a trust barrier that has been broken. But I've always, and I feel lucky for this, I've always naturally been very forgiving and had a lot of empathy. So it's not something I've had to work hard for. But I guess with certain people in my life, say my parents, for example, it took me a long time to understand their failure behind being parents, you know. Just I really love the concept of the world as a mirror. Whatever's going on within is what's going on without. And as I've gotten older and I understand and believe that more, I just realized like we're all just projecting whatever's going on for us. And nothing, in my opinion, is ever personal. A little bit different maybe if, I don't know, someone hurt one of your family members and you want to hurt them. It's like a personal thing. But if someone is just oblivious to their behaviors, that is hurting you, I'm not saying it's right, but it's probably not a personal attack, you know? So understanding that is really important for forgiveness. And you can't carry that shit. It's just weight on your shoulders you don't need. And it's going to take away from other aspects of your life, you know? I see it a lot and I understand this, you know, but lots of people against the system, you know, lots of, you know, the New Zealand government, XYZ. I'm not saying I support them, agree with them or whatever. I'm not going to let that dictate my life either. I'm not going to be filled with all this outward hate towards them. Do they have my best interests at heart? Probably not. Am I going to change it? No. You know, I can understand proper freedom fighters who are out there getting after it for the people. I understand that. But if you're just sitting at home, sharing the stuff on your Instagram, having a spiel on Instagram, not doing anything about it, like you're probably wasting your energy. Just one example of it, you know. But your forgiveness is crucial. I believe it's crucial.
Have you forgiven yourself for all the mistakes that you've made?
Definitely. And that's been a recent thing.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been recent. Like I said, leaving the club was heavy. Lots of wrongdoings I had done to others. Nothing real deep, but still, as a man, you don't want people having a negative perspective of you, you know? So I carried that. And my assumption is other men that have done other people, women too, other humans that have done people wrong, you carry a bit of like yuckness with it. But yeah, I've definitely forgiven myself for anything serious I've done in my life. On a day-to-day, it'll pop up. Like that example I gave of having the waffles for breakfast when I said I wouldn't. I'm not going to forgive myself straight away for that because I told myself I'm not going to do that and I did it anyway. Not okay, you know? So carry that for a day or two and then fucking tidy your act up, you know? And it's minor, but at the same time, it's like if I told myself I'm not going to do that, just don't, you know? Another part of the self-mastery. And it seems minor, but it's still succumbing. I'm still succumbing to this like, oh, give me the waffle, you know? And I want to be in control of that, you know? Like if I tell myself, no, I'm not having the waffle, don't do it. But there's still part of me that I'm a little bit weak when it comes to like gluttony with food, you know?
Do you punish yourself?
Just mentally, just like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? You know, you're out here giving advice on nutrition or giving advice on training and a healthy lifestyle, but you don't quite have a full cusp of it, you know? And it's minor, and I get there's probably a justification, but it's still something. I would rather get to, I want to be in a place where I have those treats. I tell myself I'm going to have the treat and have the treat. Not tomorrow I'm not going to do it and I end up just having a little bit anyway, you know? Right now, prior to coming to Bali, I actually didn't touch sugar for 3 months.
Wow.
No, not once. And coming here, I thought, okay, I'm going to have a few days of a treat, then I'm going to be dialed in. And as the holidays going on, I've just had that justification. Nah, I'm on holiday, just enjoy it. But it's still going against what I said, you know? Yeah. But yeah, the things I'm trying to master, they're not minor because they're super important to me, but they're not things that are harming others or anything like that, you know? It is all just my own shit.
What is the mission now, Jabe? What do you want to get most out of life now?
I think a really, really big one is, as cliche as this may sound, just being as present as I can, as often as I can is a big one. Don't get too lost in what's around the corner. I want to be someone people can lean on. You know, I wanna just lead by example. You know, I want people to look at me and be like, yeah, we want not to be like him, but he inspires me through his actions, not just through my words, you know? And just continue to challenge myself. Like I said earlier, and like we agreed upon earlier, it's forever. You know, don't get complacent. There's no, yeah, you have your days that are a bit more mellow and whatever, but just forever trying to challenge myself, be better in some way, shape, or form. I love that, you know. But then also just being here, being present, being off the phone. That's the, yeah.
Do you feel pressure at all to be in that role as that leader?
No, I think initially I did. I think that pressure in hindsight came from probably doing it for others more than for myself. But since my real emphasis has been around mastering myself, I don't have that pressure. Yeah. Now it's like, no, I'm just going to be my best. I'm going to focus on that personal development. And like a good example is, so with social media, in the last maybe year, I get on there pretty often and I share something around my perspective on life. It used to be this pre-planned, what do I think people want to hear? But now, and I hope people understand this, but it's literally a message for myself. And the people that relate to that, awesome. If you can pull something from that, awesome. Like, it's an example. I'll finish a run, you know, and I'm fucking endorphins. I'm feeling mean, you know, and I'll be like, exercise needs to be a part of your life, you know. I'm saying that for myself just as much as I want people to hear it, you know. So, yeah, I no longer feel that pressure. I really don't. And even with the fighting, that shift, and I recognize that just on my last fight a few weeks ago, I used to feel the pressure hard. I think because I had a good run at the start, you know, 7 first round finishes, and I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking walk through everyone. I'm gonna knock everyone out, you know. And then I started to create this pressure because everyone you see, yeah, you're gonna knock them out in the first round. I'm like, fuck, I better fucking knock this dude out, you know. And so I fought October 2023. My nerves was something wicked. It was something insane, like all day I had like internal shakes, and I was only in the ring for 17 seconds and I had DOMs in my legs for a week. And it's obviously just due to the adrenaline and the stress. But then my most recent fight, I underperformed majorly, but I didn't feel the pressure of others. It was for myself. And differently too, in my earlier career, whenever I had a fight, I was always like, I want to have a break for a bit now. Whereas I've had this fight, I want to go again. I want to show myself I can be better. I want to land more jabs. I just want to be better. And it's all just for myself. And knowing like I could get in there, get knocked the fuck out. For some people, that could be a humiliating thing. For me, I've sat with it like, I don't care. I'll fight again.
Yeah.
I want to be better for me, you know, and people that take inspiration from that, awesome. And And that's better anyway. Who would I respect more? Like if I look at it from the outside, would I respect that dude just walking through everyone, then has a tough fight, and then you don't see him again? Or do I respect that guy who gets knocked out, then in 2 weeks he's, or, give your brain a break, and then you're back in there? I respect you more. You're the hearty one.
Yeah.
You're the one showing me like you got that perseverance and that warrior spirit,
Welcome to the Martin Show First Ad Break. For anyone who is wanting to go on a new journey, learn a new skill, we have started our basic beginners boxing fundamentals course. For anyone, if it's your first time, if you're a seasoned member, this is the course for you in the boxing space or fitness space. Click the link below or go to onlineboxingtraining.com and I'll see you guys there. Let's get some mahi, eh?
That's a lesson as well for me about pressure coming from the outside. All the pressure that I feel is usually family, other people, it's not really pressure on myself, but it comes from, you know what I mean? So it's like, oh no, I have a duty or a responsibility for them.
Yes.
Which puts this weight on the shoulders.
Yes.
But I also look at this weight like I wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You know what I mean? But it is still pressure.
Yes. Yeah,
it still keeps you accountable as well.
Yes.
You got other people to serve, I guess, in a different way.
Yeah, big time.
For you, bro, we talked about the chip on the shoulder. We talked about individuals using that fuel, that whether it's anger, pain. Do you feel like your fuel now stems from that pain that you experienced back in the day, or is it a different type of fuel now?
Very different. It got me here. Yeah, it definitely got me here. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sit here and say I've got no ego involved. There's always part of that. There's always there's part of yourself where the ego's like, I want to prove I can beat this dude, or I want to prove I can do this. But I keep it really tamed, and it is definitely the minority of my fuel. My fuel really comes, and I don't want to sound cliche, but just being better, that you versus you. The more I understand that and the more I feel that genuinely, it's just so true. I just want to be better. Boxing is a perfect example. Get in there, get a win, a couple of weeks ago, but I left. I didn't feel like I won, so now I really want to get back in. I want to use this. I want to do that. I want to be more present. What else? Even with the messages I share on social media, it's like I said, it's an awareness I had only recently, maybe a couple of months ago. All my messages, it's actually me talking to myself. Like as soon as if I put up a video, know that whatever I talked about, I just felt for me, and people resonate with it, and that's awesome. And I'm just going to continue to do that. It seems to be working, it really seems to be working. So for now, that's what I'm doing.
What a beautiful realization. I love that. I'm very similar. You have what I would call momentum right now, and you probably feel it too.
Definitely.
It's fucking awesome, bro. What scares you now? What are you afraid of now?
Succumbing to fear. I guess being fearful of succumbing to fear, because I'm now in a position where, and I've often been like in this position where I put myself on the line through fighting. Fighting has been the real base of it. So I guess, like you talked about momentum. The way I feel about where my life is going, these fights, the spotlight I have on social media, and it's minor, but it's still in my community. It's something. As that continues to grow, the so-called pressure begins to build. As my fights get bigger, the pressure continues to build. And I know I've had moments in my past where I've succumbed to that. Imagine if that happened again. Would I be able to forgive myself for that? Would I be able to get past that? I believe with 100% of my being that ain't going to happen, because I would rather, I will not live with that regret. I will not let that happen. But it could, So I guess that's something that I would have fear around, succumbing to that, because I know what that feels like to succumb to that. you feel like a shell. You're like, oh, did I really do that? Did I, that's a yuck feeling as a man, like for myself. So feeling that feeling again, that could be something I fear. And then there's the normal everyday life fears that are out of our control, losing people, like your pop, like my bro, my dog, losing him, things happening to friends. But I'm not going to call them irrational because they are going to happen. Then they're not something I'm going to live with. Like it's a thought, see you later, carry on.
Are you proud of yourself?
100%. Yeah, 100% I am, brother.
What are you most proud of?
The fact that I can help others is a big one. I'm in a position where I can just be myself and people are taking inspiration from that, and people, what I talk about, it resonates with people. And I think going back to that realization I had where I'm just talking to myself, a lot of us are very similar in a certain way. So if I'm going through something and then I find some form of fixing whatever that negative thing could be, and then I share that, you might have, some of my videos are getting fucking 50,000 views and X amount of likes of people that resonate with that thing because we're all going through the same shit. We really are in some way, shape, or form. It's, pressure from, like you said, pressure from family. I don't have children, so that's a different. That's a layer of life I haven't experienced and don't know about. I'd imagine that comes with a lot of pressure. If you imagine your partner's got a newborn, or you've got a newborn, your partner's looking after them, and then you got a 3-year-old running around, your 7-year-old's at school, and you're off to work 40 hours a week on top of getting ready and XYZ. Like that to me is hard.
Yeah, bro.
I'm very blessed in the sense that I don't feel that type of pressure because that's you ain't off the barley, cuz. You're off to work, bro. You got 3 kids to support. So that's a whole nother realm that is very normal for a big part of the population that I don't have to deal with. And I could imagine like that to me seems way harder than anything I go through. Knowing you'd have to do that. I feel like if I woke up tomorrow and I was living that life, I'd struggle, bro. That would take some work to accept.
Yeah.
It'll be difficult. And that's the reality for how many people?
Oh my God.
Majority,
Yeah, bro. I'm very aware of that as well. That's why everything that I feel like I want to achieve, I'm like, man, now's the time. Because once all these extra responsibilities come, life's going to be way different.
Oh, yeah.
Won't be, as you say, wouldn't be able to be, sipping coconuts on bloody Sese Beach. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Jabe, I want to go to younger Jabe. Could be their troubled youth. Could even be younger. That little Jabe that needed a little bit of aroha. What would you want to say to him, bro? What would you want to tell him?
It's a good one. Well, I guess sitting here where I am, as happy as I am and fulfilled as I am, like, don't change a thing, brother. Just deal with it all. You're going to be all good. Life may seem unfair or it may seem hard, but it's going to get you to where you will be happy and you will be fulfilled, And if young Jabe can understand that, then he's going to be all good,
Jabe, my final question. If tomorrow was your last day, what is the one final message you'd want to leave with the world?
Deep. One final message. If it was something that was going to resonate and everyone was going to take on truly, as cliche as this sounds, just treat everyone around you how you want to be treated. Like, we all got told that from teachers growing up and it went over our head. It's so true. You don't have compassion for the people around you. Uplift them any way you can. Don't judge. Don't judge people. You got no idea about anyone. You could know someone for 2 years and you probably still don't know. You didn't experience what they experienced. Like, don't judge their flaws. Don't judge any pitfalls they have in their character because you got a lot too. Yeah, just compassion and empathy. Like, we're all very similar in a roundabout way.
You got something exciting coming up too. What is the date of Dan Hooker's
21st of September.
How do you feel, cuz? How do you actually feel about it?
I'm excited.
Mm.
Again, it's just face your fears, you know? Have courage. Go hard. Again, I want to be present. I want to feel it, you know. I'm just as excited to watch the fights as I am to be a part of it.
Yeah.
I'm all in, full belief in myself, you know. Again, of course I have intrusive thoughts. What if I get knocked the fuck out? Could it happen? 100% it could. There's 32 men, upwards of 100 kilo. It's an athletic, dangerous weight division. I know a lot of the names in there. It's stacked, you know. But ultimately, it's I'll wake up the next day regardless of what happens. Like, fuck, that was cool. You know? I could wake up with 50K and 5 highlight reel knockouts, or I could wake up in hospital. Who knows? But either way, I'm facing it. Again, I want to show anyone who's watching my story, like, just have a go, have a crack, you know?
Wow.
Does it feel normal and does it feel like, oh, it's just having another fight? No, like, this is scary.
Yeah.
This is hard out, you know? But at the same time, it's face your fears, have a go. Have a go. Stick to I'm in there.
Oh, I wish you all the best, my brother.
Thank you, my brother. I appreciate that.
We have a closing tradition
Yes.
on this podcast.
Yes.
Where the previous guest asked the next guest a question not knowing who they are.
Ooh.
The question for you today, brother, is if you were to walk into a room full of people, what ideas or stories would those people have about you just from looking at how you carry yourself?
Initially, we're going to be judged on the way we look. Tatted up, I sort of maybe walk with a bit of a shoulder roll maybe, so they might initially think maybe from the hood, maybe a bit of an outlaw looking sort of character. I think once I introduce myself, they would think, I feel they would get a good feeling from me. I think they would realize, you know, well-mannered, good handshake, smile, polite. Lets the ladies go first. Like, I feel they'd get a good judgment and think I was a good person.
What a beautiful answer. I think people will be very pleasantly surprised after listening to this episode, cuz.
Yeah,
Where can the people find you, my bro?
Instagram, Jabe Tyler. That's the only social platform I'm using. Also, Sledgehammer Boxing. Again, I've got a war with social media. I love it for the positives. I hate it for the negatives, you know. So I try to limit it, but you can find me on there.
Jabe Tyler. That concludes another episode of The Martin Show. Make sure you're subscribing to this channel. We'll drop Jabe's details below. We'll drop the 1 minute scraps probably down below as well. Make sure you're following _ The Martin Show. And we're going to be back next week for another episode. Modi ora, kia ora. Thank you.